Oh yeah, welcome to How Can She Snap? This is the Marvel Snap podcast dedicated to the filthiest of casuals. I'm the kid, one half of the Super Snap Bros, here with my brother from the same mother, Mr.
No big deal. Hey,
he's here, and we got a very special guest once again on the show today. He's a good friend of the pod. He is the host with the most, your late night snap DJ. He's got one of the best Marvel Snap podcasts out there. We have Joe from Snap Decisions with the glasses, with the dress code. We love it, Joe. You look great. How the heck are you? Tell the people where they can find you, my man.
I'm doing fantastic, guys. Thanks for having me on, as always. Love being here. Man, this stuff brings... I haven't worn these glasses since probably the early 90s, so here we go, man. It's great being with you guys again. Where you can find me at Snap Decisions 53 on X, Twitter, whatever it is you want to call it. Of course, I'm on the YouTubes as well, where I do the usually a weekly interview with another podcaster or just someone who loves Marvel Snap every single, usually Monday, and then the audio podcast every single Tuesday. So thank you. That is where you can find me, and I hang out on X a lot. So there you go.
Yeah, Joe's awesome. Also a Herald of Galactus. I love it.
I am a Herald of Galactus. I saw someone put a post out, and I wish I could credit them for it, but they put a post. You responded to it, actually. They put a post out about how they murdered a Galactus with a cannonball after the Galactus went off.
It was gassed.
I put underneath it and said, I cannot support this as a Herald of Galactus. Right underneath the post, but I said, great move. I mean, it really was. It was an awesome move. But yes, I am a herald of. I can't wait for the Fantastic Four film, and I get to see the big man on screen. That's going to be amazing.
Yeah, it's going to be great. Yeah, we got a really nice episode today. We're going to talk about Cannonball. No Big Deal and I actually haven't picked this card up, unfortunately, but Joe did. So Joe's going to carry. He's going to pull the weight here on the podcast for Cannonball. We're going to talk about the OTAs. We had some spicy takes on some of the OTAs, and then we're going to talk about all the April cards and the spotlights, and get into a nice discussion about those because a lot of those were changed. So it should be a fun one. Let's get it. The kid. All right. No big deal, Joe. How the heck are you guys today?
How you doing, Joseph?
I'm doing great, man. I'm doing great. Hope you guys are doing well. Also, I'm up here in the crazy Northeast. We go from 70 degrees to today, I think it's 30. And snow and ice and all that stuff. So, but yeah, man, I'm doing great. I'm having a blast with Marvel Snap. I've been doing some different stuff, playing a whole lot of Conquest for whatever reason, and I'm playing with my favorite card and favorite character in Marvel, Man Thing. So I'm having a blast, man. I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, the meta's pretty nice right now. No big deal. What are you doing? What are you joshing around with these days?
I'm feeling pretty good now. I mean, I definitely feel Joe on the Northeast weather. I'm in Ontario, Canada. We had cold snow blizzards yesterday, and then today's like beautiful. I walked my dog. It's like sunny. It's nice now. So yep. I don't know what the hell's going on with the weather right now. I guess me and Joe are like reversed, but yeah, man, I'm having fun with the meta. I'm playing some. We got some Guardian buffs, so I'm playing some Lockdown, a little bit of Star-Lord action, and I've been playing some C5. We got a couple new C5 cards. Contrary to what Second Dinner was saying, but they added two more that weren't Adam Warlock. So, we got two pieces that not named Adam Warlock added to the C5 deck. So I've been playing just those two decks mostly, getting crushed in Snap Judge League. Got absolutely wrecked last week, so I'm 2-1 now. And but I'm doing my first like serious ladder grind this season. So I'm up to 1100 rank right now.
Oh, nice.
I'm trying to bust into top 1K. That's the goal. Triple digits, we got to get ranked 900. That's the goal for the season. So I'm pretty close.
Yeah, you're doing good, man. Actually, you're crushing it, and also you're a discard bro too. Like you could just play discard as well. That list is insane right now. I mean that I think is one of the best lists out there right now. That and obviously Thanos. Unfortunately, Thanos is everywhere. It's still an unreal deck. Second Dinner. It's like the little engine that could. They keep nerfing and nerfing and nerfing and nerfing. It just keeps finding a way. It's just like this deck. They're gonna just like one of these days they're just gonna nuke one of the cards, maybe Thanos himself, and just like and then they're just gonna be like, all right, you're on a timeout for like 6 months.
Yeah,
like it's getting kind of ridiculous. Even like the Lambie Open I was watching today, top four. Three of the top four were Thanos, and then the finals were 2 Thanos decks.
Was that with new Mind Stone as well?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
That's
so
today.
Yeah.
Today. Yeah.
Yep.
Big Papa.
Yep.
Big Papa. Yeah. And it's all
Joe,
Thanos everywhere.
what deck was it, Joe? Did you have something to show? What deck they were
Yeah,
playing?
here. You know what? I have a little message. I have a little message for Thanos people out there. Right here. There you go. That's what I think of Thanos, baby. Right there.
That's great. For the audio listener, Joe has a big infinity gauntlet that's giving everyone the finger. It's actually amazing.
Oh my god!
But
It
yeah, I
lights
mean
up,
that deck
it makes noise, man. It was great. I had a mini rant on my OTA preview the other day about it, and then I ended up, and this will go to show you. I do that goofy Agatha thing every single weekend. Well, I do an Agatha Thanos deck, and it rocked. I didn't lose. I didn't lose one single game with that Agatha Thanos deck. So I'm like, if this isn't further proof that this deck is not phased in any way by any of these stone changes, you need to look no further than that. So there you go. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I saw your post on Twitter. That was great. I was like, oh, Joe added again with the Agatha Thanos and didn't lose.
Yep,
I'm like, of
did
course.
not lose a single game. Nope, not one game. Yep, and I was doing Guardians Lock. I played a discard deck. I waylaid through every single one. I had my missions done in 15 minutes with the deck. So, yep, it didn't lose a game.
That's amazing.
Yep,
and,
yep.
I just been on the Phoenix Force grind. People are probably going to just be sick of hearing me talk about it. But I mean, the deck is so good. I love it. It's so much fun. But yeah, I've just been playing a lot of that, grinding up the ladder and stuff, and just dicking around. Sometimes with new cards and stuff, because I didn't really play too much Pixie, but earlier. But yeah, I was playing that Snap Judge League as well. That was fun. Yeah, just I think it's fun, and I'm not seeing. Personally in my little pocket meta, I'm not running into all Thanos everywhere. I think a lot of people around where I am, I think I'm like, I don't know, 12K or something like that. I think a lot of people are just sick of Thanos and they're just like playing for fun. So I see like Thanos once every 7 or 8 games maybe. So it's not that bad for me. But like there's a lot of people that are like, dude, we're seeing Thanos everywhere, like especially if you're higher up. Mm-hmm. Like I don't know what you guys are seeing, but I'm seeing a nice diverse spread.
Yeah, 1 in 7-ish is about the same for me. People are playing. I think people want to play the new card. They want to play discard. I think discard is the most common thing I'm seeing personally. About close to half the games I think are discard players. Totally, understandably, it's it's a beauty deck. It's a fun deck. I'd have played some discard too, of course. Can't not do it. But you do feel the APOC hit a decent amount, but we'll get to that later. But I think like discard's awesome is the most common one I'm seeing, and then it'd be Thanos after that.
Yeah.
I played some discard too, and I usually don't mess around with it. It is really good. It's really good with that Meek change now. You move him all over the place. But yeah, and after the patch, it took, like you said, it took a little bit of a hit, but it's still a really, really good deck. It can compete vertical with Thanos and stuff. So that's what makes it really good. But yeah, it's and I was never a discard player, but I like it. It works really well.
Yeah, it's awesome. How are you liking Cannonball?
Cannonball's been fun, man. I would never tell, and I think I said it on my show. I would never tell anybody that listen, if you're thinking of spending tokens for this, I would never ever suggest you do it and waste 6,000 tokens. It's a lot for that card, unless you need it. The spotlight caches, which are good cards. I mean, Kitty and Ms. Marvel are great cards. So unless you needed those, I would tell you it's probably an easy skip week. But I played him in. I threw him in. I'm trying to think. I had him in 2 or 3 different decks that I was playing. I even had him in that Hazmat Man Thing deck just to see. And where I found him to be really good is this meta seems to be a meta where you're seeing people fill lanes. Almost every place you play, and a lot of games that I've been playing, people are filling up lanes now, whether it be Thanos or whether it be even discard to an extent, destroy and stuff like that. Well, destroy doesn't really, but there's some other ones that do. He works out really well then. Save him to the last turn, play him with a 5, or play him, and then, of course, a 1 card on that turn 6. And then you could just use him to blow up a card. If he can't move, if their lanes are full and they can't move, he's just taking out the biggest card in the lane. So for me, that's how it worked. I got burned by him a few times too, because sometimes, of course, they don't fill the lane. You have him on that lane, and you push that card. You want him to go, the other card to go to a certain lane, and it doesn't. It screws you, and it goes to the one of the other two that you didn't want it to go to, and I ended up losing the game. So he's pretty cool. I mean, I know a lot of people made use of him, had him in like where did I see him? People, was he out when the X-Men thing was still going on, or did that end the same day? I can't remember.
I think that ends today, but I actually didn't check.
No, it's over. I don't know if he. No, I think he was there for a day.
Yeah,
because he was in the list. He was in the list of people that got. Yeah,
he's an X-Man.
Yeah. So you had him in the X-Men thing for like a day, I think.
Yeah,
5'9".
Yeah. That's what I thought, because I saw some people playing with him in those decks, and he's an okay card. I would say, like, I don't know, if I was going to rate it 3, he's fun. He's fun to play, but I wouldn't say he's a meta staple or anything, or you're probably going to see a whole lot of him. But yeah, I mean, I enjoy when you blow up that card, it's just something people don't expect when you play him on turn 6.
Yeah, no big deal. Why didn't you pick him up?
Well, I would say, first of all, I like Joe's point of the kind of zoo meta or junk, whatever. There's so much stuff on the board. Like, I think that's because just to build on that point first, then I'll get to why I didn't pick them up. But I thought that was a cool point, because Mockingbird is the best card in the game, obviously, and in order to discount your Mockingbird, you have to play a bunch of little shitheads on the board to discount her, right? So, like, whether they're Mysterio, Squirrel Girls, or Thanos stones, like, you want to get your 0-9, your 2-9, your 3-9, whatever, and just play the busted card. So you set up some clogged situations. Cannonball comes down. I kind of see where you're going with that, Joe. That's kind of interesting. Yeah. For me, I mean, I'm starting to run out of resources. Like, I've been just buying with tokens the last few weeks, and I skipped Supergiant, but I love all the discard stuff. So I bought Proxima, Corvus, all that stuff. I love those cards. And I still love them, still play them, and they're great. No regrets on those cards. Actually really powerful too. But Cannonball, I just can't see myself like putting him in a deck. Like, I can't see myself building a deck around him personally. Like, I think he's interesting in junk, but I don't think you need him in junk. When Annihilus came out, I'm like, oh my god, like, I'm not a junk bro, but like, I want to play some Annihilus. Like, this looks sick. Like, let's send all this shit over. Like, this is the deck, right? This is the Annihilus deck. So, like, when Annihilus came out, it was different. Even Selene, too. Like, Selene seemed really cool. Man, maybe we're wrong about it, but it seemed really cool at the time. And, they nerfed Viper, obviously, and they did a bunch of bullshit. They did her pretty dirty, but the concept was awesome. But the concept of this card doesn't seem as cool as, like, Selene and Annihilus were to me. Those seem like game-breaking, like, unbelievable effects. This just seems like a pretty good card that's, like, going to be solid sometimes, and I just, if it was 3K, I would buy it, but 6K just seems a little steep for me. I'm going to save my keys for next week.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense, and the decision for me came to a couple things. Yeah, one, he's 6K, which is a lot, and I was almost ready to spend 6K on him, but then, like, I'm like, all right, because I actually started playing a little bit of junk earlier this week, and then my junk lists were doing quite well. And then I'm like, all right, where does Cannonball fit in my junk list? And I'm like, do I even want to put him in the junk list? I'm like, the junk lists I have are really fun and they're doing well. Why the hell would I put Cannonball in this deck? So it's that. And then I was like, okay, maybe and then the spotlights, for me personally, I have Miss Marvel and Kitty Pryde, and the variants just didn't do it for me to make me want to spend my keys. I like the Rian Gonzalez and the Peach Momoko more than that Miss Marvel variant personally. I know it's a cool variant, don't get me wrong, but and then the Kitty Pryde one, I have the Kitty Bride one. I have the Kim Jacinto variant, which is sick. Dan Hip. There's a lot of cool ones. I have those. So I'm like, I don't need the Hellfire one. I'm like, all right, and if I want to get this guy later, he'll be in the shop. I can just pick him up. Yeah. And I figured I'd see what everyone's doing and see if he was like a meta breaking unreal card, then I'd be like, all right, I could just pick him up. But he doesn't seem to be. It seems like a cool card, but I think I just want to save my resources and maybe pick him up later if they buff him or something.
Yeah, I tried it in junk too, and like you were saying, it's 100% what you said. He was okay in there. I think maybe he missed his meta. I think he missed the blob meta. Because if you had this card when Blob was everywhere, he would have been a blob killer. would have been it would have been perfect to go against that card. And Thanos still runs blob, but not get some. I know the decks I've seen, either they're not drawing it or whatever, but I'm not seeing blob as much. So
it's it's the lockjaw, Joe. That's to your point. Blob used to pop out of the lockjaw early.
Yes.
Or old time stone, you would ramp into a blob, right? Yep. And then the blob would be just kind of exposed on turn 4 or turn 5. And to your point, you could just throw a cannonball, punch them out of there, easy peasy, right? Yep. But now it's like always a turn 6 blob now. So
yep.
It's going to be really tough to hit the blob. I mean, you can, right? You hit the Galactus on, or the blob, while passing priority. But, you open yourself up to getting Goliath when you do stuff like that. And, so that's a good point. Yeah, just you're not seeing the lockjaw stuff now, and you're right. This guy would be interesting into a lockjaw Thanos meta.
Yeah. And I've had the card played against me a few times playing Phoenix Force, so I'm like, all right, thanks for the extra multiple, man. Thanks for doubling my Human Torch. What are you doing? Why are you playing this card against me? They've helped me out. So I've had that happen to me a couple times. But it's always fun.
Yeah.
What kind of decks do you guys play? You want to talk about some decks? No big deal. Do you got some spice for the people?
I mean, I don't have too much spice. I mean, the 2 decks I've been playing. I could pull up a list if you want, but I don't think it's necessary for this one. It's not like a specific list. I like Cerebro 5 a lot right now. I think that's my favorite deck currently. We'll get to it in the OTAs, but we just got a couple new cards. The main one being Captain Marvel. I mean, 4/5 Captain Marvel is now 4/7 Captain Marvel. And, Cerebro 5 has all kinds of pieces. You could build your deck to be like Ant-Man, Omega Red. You could even do like a Zabu type of thing with those cards and your, Enchantress is naturally a 4/5. But, or I like to play mine with like Silk, Miles Morales type of thing, and when you have those cards, you can't reliably fill your lanes. So Ant-Man becomes tricky. Ant-Man's already tricky into like cards like Killmonger and stuff. You don't have any defense for it, so I like being tricky with the Silk. I love the card Silk. I mean, this kid. So I've been having a lot of fun with that. I've Rocket Raccoon, Martyr, cards like Silk, the Lizard, and then Lizard can be discounted with Luke Cage or Enchantress. So you're running Luke Cage and Enchantress in that deck. So your Lizard's pretty much always a 2/5, even if they fill the lane. And just pumping out a bunch of 5s. If it looked like they're going to do some crazy pop-off stuff, you got the Spider-Man, move them out of there. Just yeet, like a Tribunal player, they're trying to play their Onslaught, their Iron Man, just yeet them right out of there. You don't get to stack up cards against me. And it's a lot of fun, man. I've been loving this C5 stuff. I think it's like a T2 kind of deck. It doesn't feel crazy, but it feels pretty good again. And a month ago, I thought it kind of fell off. So
what do you think about throwing Omega Red in that deck?
I think it's good. Like I've played 2 versions personally, and I like the Silk version. I like the 1-cost Miles Morales. It's a 1/7. It's not quite Mockingbird, but we're close. We're getting there. Matches up with Proxima. So.
Yeah, Joe, what does your Man-Thing deck look like? What kind of a deck is it?
It's funny you mentioned the C5. I just kind of want to compare notes real quick because I have one too. I have Ant-Man, Medusa, Zabu, Silk, Cerebro Polaris, Spider-Man, Captain Marvel, Enchantress. Enchantress has won me countless games, countless games. And then Miles, Omega Red, and Doctor Doom. It's actually not bad, and I'm not good with. I think I've said on your show before, I am horrible with Cerebro, and it never wins me games. I never find Cerebro usually, but this one's pretty good. Just the fact that you have the bigger cards in the deck. But yeah, the Man-Thing deck I've been loving, man. This is I have to give credit to Prashant. Prashant was the one who made it, but it is Hazmat, Zabu, Lizard, Maximus, Luke Cage, Ghost, Gladiator, Chadiator, of course, Shang-Chi, Enchantress, Man-Thing, Typhoid Mary, and Sarah. So it's just a lot of like big power cards. And then you get that last turn Sarah, and if all goes well, you have your Man-Thing down already on the lane where they just have a bunch of small cards. So you're already winning that lane anyway. If everything goes good, you usually get out. Now the Typhoid can just be a big body, and if you have Luke Cage, she won't do you any damage. And then you can Sarah out a Shang-Chi at the end if you need it. And then you win with the hazmat. I've won so many games with hazmat at the end of the game. People just aren't expecting it. And if you put that down, they're winning a lane by maybe 1 or 2 points. You win with the hazmat on the last play of the game. So I'm loving it, man. I get to use my favorite card in the game, and it's fantastic. He's been doing here. I'll pop it up there on my screen.
Yeah, that's a sick variant too. That's so cool.
A little bit of flexing. I like that.
With the comic book, that's awesome.
Yeah, I love it.
So you got inked comic book. That's like the flare, right? The gray flare.
It's the white the gold glimmer flare.
Looks so cool.
Yeah, looks fantastic.
Yeah, it's really neat, man.
It's amazing.
I love those comic book covers. I really do. So getting the chance to play him is fantastic, because when he came out, he really didn't fit anywhere, just because of the meta that was happening and stuff like that. But I've taken a lot of people by surprise with the deck, and I've winning a lot of like 4 and 8 games because people just aren't expecting that play. So the only other thing is I've learned already, if you get the Luke out too early, a lot of people will leave. They're 1 cube if they don't think they're going to beat you, and they'll start to realize, all right, he's got something going on here. They see the man thing and they're out. So a lot of the times they'll leave. So I may end up trying to wait until the end of the game to play Luke Cage.
They're holding like a hazmat Luke turn 6 type of thing.
Yeah. Play it.
Yeah, it sounds like from the deck that you named, it sounds like Luke is like the crucial part of the deck, right? You got Typhoid, you got Hazmat. If their stuff's getting reduced and yours isn't, Man Thing obviously, lets you play big stuff in there too. I mean, that sounds like a pretty filthy deck and good into Thanos. We're in the FU Thanos.
Yeah, it's no doubt, man. I wasted a Thanos deck with this in a couple nights ago playing, and just I won my tournament game with it too, and they were playing Thanos as well. So a lot of times too, the Chattiator will do something good for you. He'll pull something out of their deck that they really needed. A couple of times I was playing against decks that needed Sarah, and I killed the Sarah with him. So he'll do a lot of good things. I've won games where I haven't got Luke as well, so it's not as common though. And if people have a lot of power, you're in trouble. So yeah, but I love it, man. I never thought I'd play Hazmat because I hated the card. I had so many people play it against me in that stupid Wong list where they do the Wong Hazmat Gambit crap and they waste your whole thing. Oh my god! So I never thought I'd play it, but yep, there we go. I'm loving it, man. I absolutely love it. So I'm enjoying it. I climbed a little bit on ladder. I won a little bit. I won the tournament game with it. So yeah, man, I'm having fun. I'm having a blast with it, man.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I was gonna say I love just like peppering in Hazmat now into some of my like junk lists. It's I just think it's such a fun card.
It is
just making people's everything go down. I don't know. It's a really cool effect.
Yep.
And you don't get to play it enough, so it's like if it's okay, I'll slot it in the deck just because it's fun.
Yeah.
And then this deck I played a little bit earlier this week. I could cook this one. It's a really, really cool, unique deck. It's really good, actually, especially now. So it's like a Shanna, like a destroy deck. And the way it works is like you put out a bunch of the deck is Nico, Squirrel Girl, X23, Bucky Barnes, Carnage, Rogue, Shanna, Killmonger, Venom, Mockingbird, Null, and Death. And the way it works basically is you dump out a bunch of little stuff early, like, Nico, Squirrel Girl, X23, Bucky. You destroy them, you get your Mockingbird out. And after you throw your Shanna down too, then you get your Mockingbird out early. And then your opponents, they feel like, they're safe to put their 1-drops down because they don't realize that you're going to hit them with the Killmonger. You're going to destroy everything. Your Null gets huge. Your Death becomes free. And they have no idea you're playing Null Death on the last turn. And you just win by complete surprise. It's an unreal ladder deck. It's so fun. I actually won a bunch with it. He climbed a ton of ranks in high infinite, like top 200 or whatever. I don't know, top 100. But yeah, and it actually is a really fun deck because like when the hell does anyone ever play like Shanna? We don't get to play these cards too often, and then Killmonger blowing up all your stuff and their stuff is just hilarious. And you get a free Death and Null. It's a really, really, really good deck.
That's awesome.
Even like when I played it, it was a lot of fun. So
I bet you the Rogue is good too. If somebody's playing Destroy against you, you can Rogue their Null.
Oh yeah, Rogue's is good for like a lot of stuff. Any of the Thanos stuff, you can steal like their stones, like the Soul Stone,
Yep.
Anything really. Mobius stuff you can steal.
Yeah, Zabu's a great snipe. Usually even just to throw him down on turn 3 to take the Zabu was great.
Yep.
Yeah. If they're playing Mobius, you can steal the Mobius effects. So your Mockingbird is free. still, and your death is free still.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. It's just a fun deck.
Yeah, that's great.
Also,
So I thought I'd bring it up.
I'll say a quick pro tip. For the people that aren't Mockingbird degens like me, when you kill Bucky Barnes, the clone discounts the Mockingbird. So the Winter Soldier is -1 on the. So that's why Bucky's in there. In case you don't think Ike was trying to have fun, the Bucky's in there for a reason. Yeah.
Another Mockingbird fun fact that I think most people probably know, but maybe not. It's kind of unintuitive. Is Mysterio counts as -3?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not -2. I thought at first it'd be like -2 because one's the real and the other one's their thing, but no. Yeah. It's -3, So when I first did that, I was like, "Whoa, this is cracked."
Oh, it's insane.
Yeah. That's kind of odd because that's the normal card. You wouldn't think he would count, but wow, okay.
Yeah.
That's cool.
No, I know. Oh yeah, you played the Mr. Negative X-Men, so you know.
No,
you had Mysterio in there, didn't you?
I played
Patriot. You're right.
Week 2 of Snap Judge League.
Yeah.
But I knew that going in. Yeah, it's because the 3 clones, they're clones at first. Okay. And then he turns into an actual card at the end of the game. So you're throwing down 3 clones because even if you see on the board like turn 3 you play a Patriot, it goes 2-2-2. So it is buffing the 3 cards as if they're clones. But then at the end of the game, just one of them like transforms into Mysterio. So at that time you have 3 Patriot targets. You have maybe that'll help you secure priority if you need it, which is nice. And then, it discounts Mockingbird to -3. It's absurd. So Squirrel Mysterio is a 0-9 Mockingbird. That's why I was playing that Patriot deck.
Yeah. Hey, this is another cool deck for the people that actually was climbing a bit with and having some success with. JJ Rolk made this and actually was featured on Snap Decisions. It was really cool. I was really cool. It's got Annihilus. It's got Hazmat. It's got Man-Thing. I'm like, sign me, and Debris. I'm like, sign me up. Mysterio too. So it has Yellow Jacket, Hood, Hazmat, Zabu, Mysterio, Debris, Luke Cage, Man-Thing, Sentry, Typhoid, Annihilus, and Mockingbird. So this is basically just you have the Annihilus package. You have a Clog package with Debris as well. Yep. So you clog them up. You play Hazmat. You play Luke Cage. You play Annihilus. You send everything over. The Debris rocks and the Mysterio make your Mockingbird free. So it's a free 0-9. You got Man-Thing in there like Joe's been saying. It's just an unreal card right now. You have Zabu to make your Man-Thing, Sentry, and Typhoid Mary three cost. It's a great deck. It's really fun too. Then you just throw Hazmat's always a fun thing to play. Yep. And then Yellow Jacket can either make the rocks negative power, so you can send them over with Annihilus, so you can junk them up more, or you can make your Sentry or Typhoid Mary 9 power if you want to dodge Shang-Chi.
Yeah, not shankable. Also the clones. You can discount the clones and ship them as well.
Yeah, that as well. Yeah. Mysterio clones.
Yeah, that's true.
Which is so sick. I love this. This is like an old Annihilus deck. Like it actually works, as the card intended before they did a horrible change to Annihilus.
They really did our boy dirty. Yeah, this deck, I was having a lot of fun with this deck. So it's a good deck and it's a lot of fun. So it's good for people if you guys want to play like a nice junk deck using cards that people don't usually play too much. That's actually good. This is it.
And just if you're sick of Thanos meta, phenomenal versus Thanos.
Yeah. This crushes.
Just Debris is like you should snap if you have Debris on turn 3 against Thanos.
No doubt. Yep, no doubt. You fill those lanes, man. Yep.
Even Man-Thing too.
What do you guys think of it? You think Mockingbird's gonna get nerfed?
She should. I mean, she should. I don't know what's their policy on how soon they nerf a card after it comes out. Yeah. I think Mocking and Call Obsidian need to get touched personally. Yeah. I think both those cards are horse shit, but Mockingbird's like even more bullshit. I definitely think they should nerf her. I mean, it's such an easy OTA change too. You could put her to 6 power, you could put her to 6 cost, or you could put her to 7 power, or you could put her to like a 6/8. I think she's still really good as a 6/8, right? Like the kid said, I play Mysterio on 2. That's a 3/8. That's better than Gladiator still because it doesn't pull one from their deck. So.
Would you put her to Shang-Chi range and make her?
I think they should do that immediately, but I don't know. What do you think, Joe?
Would you put her to Shang-Chi range and make her a 10?
No.
Too powerful.
Yeah.
Also, I kind of just like. I mean, well, you could drop her on turn 6 anyway, Joe. Right? If she's a 0-10,
Yeah.
Like imagine she's a 0-10, right?
Yeah,
you just save her for 6.
Yeah.
As long as they don't Mobius you, easy wins,
Yeah,
right?
no doubt.
I think you just yeah, the card's way too powerful. It's a powerful card. I mean, yeah, I think with Elsa it took them three weeks because she was like ridiculous.
Yep.
I think that's the quickest we saw a nerf from like a card that she was a season pass card too. So yeah, I would just go slow. Even just start with a 5/8. Start with something.
Yeah.
Because a 5/9 which turns into a 0/9 is ridiculous. Or make her a 6/9. Whatever.
Yeah.
Or a 7 or something. Because it's still easy. It's like we're seeing that it's not hard to like get her out for cheap as hell.
Not at all.
Yeah, I don't mind 7 either. Yeah, whatever they got to do, right?
And yeah, I know people have said like, oh, make her so like she can't do the Thanos stone thing, but then it's like you don't want to build all your cards around like Thanos. It's stupid like game design, right?
100%.
You want to make her.
It's probably a lot of work too. Like I mean, I'm not a coder, but I don't know. But it sounds like that'd be hard to do in the game.
Yeah.
Whereas you can just touch up her power or cost, and that's like easy peasy. And that would solve the problem. I mean, look, they took 1 power off stature, and the card just disappeared. Like that stature was like the best card in the game, and they took 1 power off, and she vanished. So like you can just take some power off. It's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Yeah. She's a power card. That's what she is. So you take a little value off and make her a little more fair.
Yeah.
Even a 5/8 is way better. Like way better for the health of the game. 5/9 is ridiculous. It was just 0/9. Even like you still will be like a 2/8. Like remember we said how like ridiculous Gladiator is a 3/8 with a downside. Yep. This is a 0/9 with like no downside. Yep. So it's like ridiculous. Even if someone plays Mobius, you're not even that mad playing a 5/9 a lot of the time. So
yeah. Yep.
I don't know. Yeah, I think she deserves to be touched up a little bit. And I think she's an easy, like no big deal side, easy OTA change.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I do love the concept of the card. I think she's fun, but just too much power. It's just too overpowered, and that's okay. Real quick too, because you said you wanted to compare Cerebro decks, Joe. I did pull mine up here.
Oh, okay, cool.
I'll just go through it for the audio listeners.
Yeah.
I got Rocket Raccoon, Martyr.
Nice.
Okay, and then Medusa, Lizard, Silk, Cerebro, Lucas Cage, Spider-Man, Captain Marvel, Enchantress, Miles Morales, and Doctor Doom.
Nice.
So that's my best brew so far. And I do have a separate one with Omega Red, but it's not quite doing as good as the one I just named. So
nice. Okay.
I really like that one. I like the flexibility of Silk and just your opponent doesn't know where your power is going to end up, and you output a ton of power with this deck.
Yeah, it's just a really good cards deck. Like with the cards that you have in there, even if you don't get the Cerebro out, it's a pretty good deck no matter what. Anyway, so yeah, that's awesome, dude.
I gotta say too. I mean, me and Kid were talking about this a little bit in the DMs, but there's this really cool interaction. I say it's new because Captain Marvel wasn't in the game like a week ago, so. Now we have the card Captain Marvel back in Marvel Snap. And if you play Martyr first and then you play your Captain Marvel, then Captain Marvel just wins you the game because she goes last. So your Martyr would lose you the game first, but then your Captain Marvel can just cover her basically. So what's happening in my games is not even showing the Martyr move. It skips right to Captain Marvel. So basically it's like a massive buff to Martyr.
Oh, wow, okay.
You don't have to play 0 in your deck to 0 your Martyr. You just play Martyr, and she's a freaking 1/7 in Cerebro. So
okay.
Yeah, like Martyr's like crazy in this deck now.
That's cool.
All of the end game effects like that are in the order they were played. And we saw this a lot when they first buffed Captain Marvel, and she was a 4/5, and everyone was playing. And there was Reddit threads that were like, "Why did Captain Marvel move?" That was like a thing, And so it's like even if there's 2 Captain Marvels, if you play yours first, and then your opponent plays theirs after yours on a different turn, then at the end of the game, your Captain Marvel checks, and then their Captain Marvel checks. So you can still lose the game. You're like, "Why didn't my Captain Marvel move?" Like they could both not move, even though. One of it, and even though moving would have won you the game, so and then even it works with Mysterio as well. Mysterio is an end game effect as well. So your Captain Marvel might not move, and then if Mysterio was played after the Captain Marvel, then the Mysterio with the 4 power will pop up, and you can still lose the game, even though you have Captain Marvel, because the end game effect kind of goes in the order of what they were played.
Oh wow, okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Did I explain that okay?
Yeah. That's
I think you explained it. You explained it good. And just another example, because I lost 4 cubes to it a couple days ago, is Dracula. And Dracula will come up a lot because we are in a discard meta right now. So if you they play their Dracula before your you play Captain Marvel, then they play Dracula, you're in trouble.
Yeah, Dracula is an endgame effect as well. Yeah, I don't know that one. It must work the same. I don't know. I don't have experience with it.
I lost to it. That's what prompted me. That's what prompted me to message you in the first place. I'm like, what the hell? Why didn't my Captain Marvel go? And you're like, oh, it's order played. I'm like, oh, fuck, you're right. Yeah, that was.
Yeah, no, I remember this came up so much. I lost so many games like back when Captain Marvel was like all over the place because like there was always like Mysterio like monkey decks and stuff like because monkey. I think it was probably still a 2 energy card, or at that point. So it was like there's always Miss Marvel or Captain Marvel and monkey deck. So Mysterio came up a lot, and then Captain Marvel versus Captain Marvel came up a lot. And it's endgame. So yeah, it's a cool interaction. It's worth knowing. But
yeah, that's neat. I didn't realize she had an interaction with Martyr like that. That's cool. So that means that her reaction always goes after. Okay, that's pretty.
Unless you play like a turn 6 Martyr, which sometimes you kind of have to, but. Usually you're playing Martyr on 1, and that's why I always, with this deck, try to play Martyr on 1. Yeah. Like, even if I have you have to play the cards here, and I could play Rocket Raccoon to for sure go off, like, I usually just play Martyr, because you might not get to play it later in the game, and then she loses you the game.
Yeah.
So you don't want her to lose you the game.
No, that's bad.
So, I thought that was really cool. It's a massive, like, Captain Marvel is insane in Cerebro. Like, just the 4/7 that goes anywhere is just exactly like what the deck needs. So, you play a Dr. Doom, and then wherever she needs to help you out, she does.
Yeah. Well, we're talking about Captain Marvel being a 4/5. Let's get into the actual changes here.
Yeah, let's go.
The meat and potatoes here, and talk about the latest OTA changes. I guess here they are. We'll pull them up here, but
perfect.
They said, "Hey, hope you enjoyed the Avengers vs. X-Men event this month." Let's talk. I want to just talk 5 minutes about that.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about these imbalance patches?
Let me go first on this one.
Yeah, go.
So I hated the last one, the Valentine's event. I just didn't. I'm taking them. You're asking in general, but I'm saying I did not like the Valentine's one, and I loved this Avengers X-Men one. I had an absolute blast on this Avengers X-Men one. The number one reason is we still got an OTA. That's the number one reason. Yeah. So Valentine's, they did that instead of an OTA. And in this one, we still got the normal schedule events. Man, these OTAs are so fun. I love their OTAs. Like, it just makes the game so much fun. So just having to give that up for anything, I don't think is worth it. So the Valentine's one I didn't like. But this Avengers one, there were some very legit builds with both Avengers and X-Men. Like the X-Men Surfer build was going absolutely crazy on the stats there.
Yeah.
And then obviously I had a blast with Mr. Negative, even though I got absolutely rocked in tournament with it. Still, it's just, how cool is it? I get to show up in tournament with an X-Men Mr. Negative deck. Like, it's just, it's a special point in time, and we'll probably never get to do that again. So it's kind of fun that way. And I think they knocked it out of the park, and they didn't seem too overpowered. But like an actual meaningful amount of power with actual cards that people play, like Mockingbird and Miss Marvel are in this event. Shang-Chi, these are all Avengers, right? So they're cards you can play, and it's just like a +3, so it doesn't like just totally break the game. So I loved it. And what do you guys think about it?
Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, I thought it was fun. Like you were saying, with the amount of, when I went down the list and I read all of the heroes that were on the list, I'm like, good God, there aren't many cards at all that aren't even included one way or another. But yeah, I mean, there was just so many things you could do. I don't mind stuff like this, like you were saying, no big deal, because it does add more fun to the game. When the game may be getting a little stale, and you might be involved in a meta where it's, let's say, Thanos, or it's whatever it might be, this can shake things up, because people will just do this to have fun. I saw Surfer lists that were being played. I saw Lockdown lists that were being played, and even if it's only for a week that it lasts, I think it's good. It changes things, and I think that's good for a game. I used to see things like this happen in other card games I played. Magic would do it sometimes, where they would just have like little anniversary things going on where they would do some stuff, and I think it's good. I agree with you. Don't put it out in lieu of an OTA. I agree with that 100%. If you're going to keep doing it, and it seems like they might be, although I don't know where the ideas are going to keep coming from because you're going to run out of groups. There's only so many things you could do. I mean, they already pumped up the Guardians, as we're going to talk about soon anyway. So you already kind of nixed that, although there were a ton of people in Guardians of the Galaxy over the years in comics and stuff like that too. But yeah, no, I thought it was fun, man. I liked it. I a lot of times I'm sitting there playing and I know I have some Avengers in the deck, and then at the end you just don't even realize you have them all, and then all of a sudden you're winning a game because you got the extra bonus from the Avengers. And like, oh, cool, okay. But yeah, I thought it was cool. I like this one a lot because it's also themed with the month. So you had the Avengers versus X-Men month anyway, and you're theming it along with that. Maybe next month they'll do a similar thing, because technically every card we're getting next month are Thunderbolts. So if they want to do that, they could do the Thunderbolt list, and have some kind of a thing going on with that too. So we'll see. But I dug it. I liked it a lot better than the first one, and yeah, I just think it's a fun thing to do.
Yeah, it definitely is a fun thing to do. I mean, maybe I'm going to sound like an old curmudgeon here, but like, I don't really care that much. Sometimes I thought it was cool, and sometimes I thought it was annoying. Where like, I just want to go on ladder. I don't want to think about whether they're going to get an X-Men buff. I just want to play my decks and play. It's just more. I do enough thinking with the deck that I play that I don't want to think even more. That I kind of just wish there was a game mode that was like non-ranked that you can just like queue into, and even sometimes play bots. Like, you just be like, I just want to play against a bot, where you can test stuff, and then they have that game mode, and then they just do some like wild broken shit in that game mode. Mm-hmm. Like, you have X-Men, they all get +10 or something. Not but just some just wild shit. That would be kind of cool. And just leave the ladder kind of like, let people, and then have all the hot locations in that mode too. Don't have any hot locations in ladder as well. Yeah. Do all the bullshit in that mode, and that way, if you want to,
those are conquest days.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that way, if you want to if you want to play ladder and you want to play the game as it was intended, then you can just do that, and you can just like play against people and be competitive if you want to. And then if you want to dick around, you go into the dick around mode and do that. But that being said, yes, thank God they didn't do this in lieu of an OTA. But it was cool. I enjoyed it. I'm not, I don't want to be a hater here. I'm not like an asshole. It was a fun event. It was fun. I think they did a good job with it.
I like your thought about the game mode, man. That would be cool. Could you imagine if they could come up with like some sort of sealed deck thing almost, where they give you, okay, here's some packs of Avengers, here's some packs of X-Men, and just pick which ones you want, and then you open them, and then you just get a bunch of cards that you just throw together and almost make a deck out of that. That'd be awesome if they could do something like that. I agree. It does something. I agree with your points about people that are on like infinite ladder, especially, probably shouldn't have to really worry about, like what you were saying, noticing that, oh, damn, I forgot that they're going to get a bonus because they're playing all these extra cards, or I forgot I'm going to get it, or something like that. So maybe even leave it out of that. I don't know. But yeah, I agree. I think that if they did something else with a different mode or something, it might be a little bit better. I agree with you.
I mean, I'd rather have these than hot locations, straight up. Any day of the week, I'd rather have this than hot locations. Yeah. I think hot locations need to get the hell out of the game. That's ridiculous.
Locations are garbage.
Like these are okay. Like, yeah, I know I'm sounding like an idiot, be like, but sometimes I just don't want to think about the buff, and I'm like, if I lose him, I'm like, God damn it, but.
Yep.
Well, yeah. I mean, to be clear, I'd be fine if they got rid of them too. I'm just saying for this one, I actually had a lot of fun and I played the decks. But
yeah,
I mean, like you said, it's the same theory behind and logic behind the hot locations. I mean, I would love it if they got rid of those too.
Yeah.
And if people didn't have fun because they're playing against, like, are they going to use the Avengers buff, and win this lane? Like, that's true. Because I was on the fun end of it, right? But I wasn't on the receiving end where the Professor X lane gets buffed and you're just like, what the hell?
Yeah. No, I think it would be cool to just have like a game mode where like they can just do like really broken stuff. Yeah. That would be hilarious. Would be. Mm-hmm. Everyone's playing like broken cards,
like a casual game mode, right?
Yeah.
And you can Also, you could set like if you want to play against bots. I've been wondering why they don't have that in the game just to begin with. That you can't just go against a bot match and then you can like reshuffle. So you want to see like how consistent an opening is, or you want to see like what your opening hands look like. Just to give you a dummy 4 cards. Like, oh, I drew 4. Okay, reset. Drew 4. Like it's just you against the computer, and then you could set all kinds of stupid game modes too, and you could do that against your friends too, like in. Friendly battles. That would be kind of fun, right? Like some casual or unranked. You call it unranked or something, yeah. With actual people. That one.
Yeah, that'd be fun. Yep. Who knows what they'll do, but yeah. Anyways, let's get into the first change here. We have. I mean, we talked about this last 15 minutes, but Captain Marvel went from a 4-4 to a 4-5. What do you guys think?
What do I do?
Oh man, I think it's a good change. I mean, she was sitting at this before, and you could see the reasons up there. They found that it to be too strong, but she's a good card to have in the game. She's one of the biggest heroes in Marvel. People know her now, obviously from the MCU and stuff too. So I think it's just good to have it. It's a good card in a lot of decks. She, like we were just talking about, she can win you games a lot of the times just having her in there. And yeah, I think it's a good change. Obviously it's not 4-6 or anything, but 4-5 is fine. And I think it's a good change. Get her back in the game. You weren't seeing her played at all at 4-4, so get her back in there. Let her do her thing. I love it. I'm down with it.
No big deal.
Yeah, I like it too. I mean, I talked about it a lot. Aside from C5, I just think you take a totally unplayable card and you make it playable, and I think that's good. I don't think she's too busted or anything at 4-5. Now, in a month or two, if they nerf all the best cards in the game, does like some Zabu degenerate like Zabu Captain Marvel list kind of good cards type of bullshit come up and be good? That absolutely could happen because I think she's like a actual like pretty good card right now. But yeah, I love this change. I still would wonder if they would have originally did Vision to 4, so Vision would be like a 4-6, and then Captain Marvel used to be a 5-7, or she was a 5-6, but she was unplayable, right?
Yeah.
I would like 5-7 Captain Marvel. That I always would have wanted that personally. I just think that's really interesting. 5, like that's a powerful, 5-drop to play, but you're giving up a lot of power playing a 5-7. So I would like 0 to 5-7, but then you'd have to change Vision, and people love Vision, and Vision's very played, and I think Vision's reasonable at 5-8. So I like this change.
Yeah, I think it's about damn time they did this. She was just a piece of shit card at 4-4. Not played when they nerfed. The nerf was warranted at the time. The change was warranted at the time because she was like just like popping off. Lockdown was huge, and there was no really ways to stop lockdown as much as there is now. But like, yeah, this is great. She's great. She's like, I think she's perfectly fair card. She's a card that's actually playable in some decks. That's what you wanted a change like this. Great change. Yep. I think they could have done this a month and a half ago and it would have been just fine.
Yep. Agreed.
But yeah, it's nice. It's nice to see. I like it. Oh, here's kind of a spicy one. Apocalypse 6-8. They nuked him down. Not nuked him down. They nerfed him a little bit. Just took off 2 power. He's now a 6-6. Joe, what do you think?
I mean, the deck is good. I mean, there's no denying the deck is good. It's one of the best decks now in the meta. And, I heard some of the other creators talk about him. I think KM Best mentioned that the Apocalypse is usually the most important card in that deck, which I probably would agree with. That's the card that's going to get you a ton of power. If you're playing the Dracula, you're getting over probably 20 points of power, if not maybe more. So it's going to win a lane for you. Tone him down a little bit, taking him down by 2. I don't think it's going to really wreck the card. People are still going to play it, and I still played it. I've been playing this deck with the Helicarrier and Collector, and it's still just as good. I'm winning games with it and stuff like that. So I don't really think it's a bad change. Although I don't necessarily know if their intent was to make the deck weaker. I don't necessarily know that it did. Because I think it's still a darn good deck, and I think it's going to be a good deck, going forward. So, it's fine. I don't really think it's going to affect this card all that much from where it is.
Yeah, I'll go. No big deal. You're the discard guy, so you can finish off on your thoughts. They'll be more coherent than mine. When I first saw this, what I thought was, wow, okay, they nerfed Thanos, which we'll get to. So they think discard's gonna pop off. So they're gonna take a little bit off discard to make sure it doesn't go out of control, because I think they expected Thanos to disappear, and we're gonna talk about that later. But I thought this was fine. I actually kind of like the change. It said Apocalypse is the single best performing card in the dedicated discard archetype. So we're taking away a little bit of its base power. It still can, it's still, when you discard it, it gets 4. So it can still get up to 6/14, pretty good, which is a 15 Dracula, which is pretty good. It's not a 17 Dracula like it was before, It's a little bit less, so it's going to make some difference in some of the games. But I mean, the points that discard can put up in some of these games is absolutely ridiculous. Yeah. So I think nerfing their best card in the deck is fine in the deck that's one of the best decks in the entire game. I was completely okay with this change, and I think discard's going to be fine as well. Like, discard still is fine. Mm-hmm. No big deal.
Yeah, no. So like you, first of all, I actually like this change a lot. I was very surprised I would say I like this change a lot because, to your point, kid, if you nuke Thanos, it's going to be all discard. So we've seen this before where they nerf the top deck and then the second best deck just completely runs rampant. I think Joe, the Cam Best video you're referring to, he brought back the Shuri meta. That's what happened. It was like
they nerfed Surfer.
I think it was wasn't it? No, the Shuri meta. I think it was Quinjet Thanos was like. Remember when Quinjet Thanos, you could play the 0 power stones into Lockjaw? And I think they nerfed that, but then they didn't touch Shuri Red Skull, and then Shuri Red Skull just took over for 3 months and like almost ruined the game, So like this kind of, that's what they're doing, right? It's like, okay, we're hitting the main deck hard, but let's hit the second best deck a little bit too. And I was very surprised to see that Apocalypse is the single best performing card in the dedicated discard archetype. I didn't know that, but I guess if you kind of think about it, it makes sense. Mm-hmm. He's the big power guy. You're 100% of the time playing him in a MODOK list. He's a non-negotiable, must include, even at a 6/6. I mean, you just have to play him. He's just represents so much of your power. So I think that's a good change. I think Proxima Midnight, my original assessment of the card, now that the dust has kind of settled a little bit, we're not just like reacting to cards coming out and we've played the game for a couple weeks. I do think they should also take a power off of Proxima Midnight. I don't think she should be a 4/7. I think her original stat line of 4/6 on the original Dynamines was spot on. And to me, that's the most broken card in the deck, easily, to me.
Yeah. Yeah, good. Hey, no one here is too upset about this one. That's good. It's good to see. Now, next one. Here we go. Mind Stone was a 1/1. Now was a 2/1. So pretty huge nerf to the Mind Stone. Let's be very clear. They doubled its cost. Like, that's a big change. When all the stones are 1, this is a big nerf to probably the best stone. Well, easily now the best stone after the Time Stone nerf last week. They keep nerfing Thanos, and he keeps being the best deck in the game. He's right now the best deck in the game. Like, there's no question. He's up there. Discard's a close second, it seems like. But he's like, Loki's decent too, but Thanos is just still chugging along. Like we said before, like in the Lambie Open, I was watching today, the top 3 of the top 4 decks are Thanos. The finals is 2 Thanos decks. Spoiler alert, Thanos won because the finals is 2 Thanos decks. But yeah, I mean, it's I don't know. It's crazy. I think it's a good change. Like, I think this nerf was needed. Like, I think it was needed. This is me, the guy who loves Thanos. I'm kind of even getting sick of him. I'm like, this is needed. Like, they need to just tone him down a little bit. And the thing no one's talking about is, Mind Stone doesn't get killed by Killmonger anymore. How about them apples? Yeah. What do you guys think of this change?
I'll go. I was wrong about the Time Stone nerf. I thought the Time Stone nerf was going to matter. And thankfully, the kid and Zal Snap were on here saying, no, it's no big deal. You're wrong. It's not going to matter at all. You're just going to play Time Stone. I was like, no, but the Time Stone to Prof X is dead. Time Stone on 2 into Hope Summer Stone is dead. You're just playing random ass cards. But yeah, you guys are right. All the cards are good hits. So all the discounts are good. And Mockingbird is in the deck, and that's the best card in the game. So, none of this shit matters. And, with this Mind Stone change, Mockingbird's still in the deck and it's still the best card in the game. So, you know, you could play it on 2. Like, you could just play Mind Stone on 2. And that's perfectly fine. You know, that's another discount to your Mockingbird and another progression into the inevitable win that is the Thanos player's going to get. Joe, show the gauntlet.
Yeah, you know, here's what I think of this change.
What does Joe think of
right
this?
there is what I think of that change.
Inevitable.
Yeah. So
That's great.
As soon as I heard it, I'm like, all right. Everybody was talking about we got to do something to Thanos. We got to do something to Thanos. And then we get this. And I'm like, all right. So basically, all they did here was they prevented them from snapping on turn 1 because they would always usually snap on turn 1 on a Mind Stone. It was just a thing. So that's pretty much what this prevented. I don't really think this does much. And like I said, Psylocke, as we'll get to next here, these would have hurt like No Big Deal was talking about earlier, the Lockjaw version of the deck. They may have hurt the lockdown version of the deck with Professor X. Nobody's really playing that one. Especially now that Mockingbird's out, you know, they're still going to keep playing the Mockingbird, Cull, big cards, and then beat you with Goliath Thanos decks. That's just what they're going to play. So this, to me, had no change whatsoever. And then I got myself wondering, well, what can they do to get rid of this? And I know, like, you know, you can check the socials, you can look and see what people are saying. And the fact that I said earlier, I played a freaking Agatha deck and Agatha played the damn thing and won every game. So, I mean, that's pretty much saying something when all her goofy plays, that she's going to win decks with it. So I don't know what they can do with it really anymore. I mean, they're dancing around it. They're changing stones all the time. I don't know really what they can do with it other than a rework. Some of the people I asked online came up with some pretty cool things. Like some of them are like, have a gauntlet have to be assembled, like almost like a gauntlet card. And one person said, don't allow them to destroy stones. Well, that's great, but that's only used that's very seldom ever a thing where they're destroying their own stones anyway. So yeah, I don't know. I really don't know, but I don't see this making that big of a deal for a Thanos deck. As you said, kid, you know, they're being played at high tournament levels. So I don't think it's going to be a big thing for it. I really don't.
It hasn't changed. Yeah, their deck are still top decks in the tournaments right now with this change. Yep. So it's not. And yeah, I was going to say that Ica actually had that elegant change for Thanos. He's like, make the stones into a separate card called the Infinity Gauntlet, and that takes up a slot in your deck. Yeah. That way, if you're playing Thanos, you have to play Thanos and Infinity Gauntlet. Yep. The gauntlet represents the stones.
That'd be cool. Yeah.
That way, you can't put an extra card in there. Because doesn't matter. You're playing Mockingbird, you're playing Call Obsidian, you're playing whatever. Cannonball, Eva Zord was playing Cannonball like in this deck. It doesn't fucking matter. This deck is ridiculous. Thanos is ridiculous, and it is what it is. We'll see what they do. I mean, there's no OTA next week, so it's going to be a couple weeks of this.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. And the funny part about it is I've seen so many times where they have Thanos, they have a 620 Thanos, and no, they don't never play it. They don't even need it. Yeah. And what's it like when you're not going to play a 20 power card, but they don't need it? So it's like, I don't know, man. We'll see. Like you said, we'll see what happens, but I don't know. I think Thanos is just as good as it ever was.
Yeah, with Hope Summers and stuff, it's like a weird deck where you can just like ramp so easily because of all the 1-drops, and then like you can play tech and huge stats. Yeah. You can't do that with a lot of decks, Yep. It's just like, it's so good for that.
And I don't agree with people saying too that to nerf the other cards, because it's not fair. Like if you're okay, we'll get rid of Mockingbird now, but Mockingbird can be used in other decks and succeed in other decks. So if you nerf that because of this, it's not fair to the people who got Mockingbird and wanted to use it in a Patriot list or another list. That it's not fair to keep adjusting cards around this deck. So yeah, that's my Thanos rant.
I agree.
I mean, for me, I would like to see a Mockingbird hit regardless. Like I said, I actually think she's the best card in the game, and I think she's a bullshit card. But to your point, you could fix the Mockingbird problem. Is there a reason why the stones don't just start in the deck? Why can't we just do that? I mean, this is a very simple change. Like, why the fuck do they just appear 6 on the screen, like, and then they just magically get? Why can't you just have an 18 card deck? Like, what's the problem with that? That was the whole point of the Quinjet thing being ridiculous, because they didn't start in your deck. But instead of actually fixing that problem, they just changed Quinjet. And they nerfed the actual Quinjet card, which was a fine card on his own. Like, shield decks weren't doing shit at that time. Loki wasn't out. Quinjet was fine. Like, people were playing White Queen, like, it was simpler times. But why can't if the stones start in the deck, then Mockingbird won't be able to be used at all in the deck.
Yeah, that's true.
And I still think they should put Mockingbird like a 6/8 anyway. Yeah. But to your point, then you could play like Squirrel Girl Mysterio and still go pop off and stuff like that.
So they released this card recently. Her name is Pixie. If the stones start in your deck, you're fucked with that card. That's a broken fucking deck.
Yeah.
They specifically changed Pixie to make sure that she didn't work like that before she released.
Oh, yeah, the Pixie text. Yeah.
Just imagine a 120 Thanos coming down on like turn 6. Yeah, here you go. Yeah. Here's all the stones, and here's a 120.
Like, with no Pixie in the game, you're absolutely right. They should just do that, right? But Pixie now causes a problem, and that,
Well, that's tricky because I remember. I think it was. We keep bringing up Cam Best for some reason, but I think he tweeted out like, "All right, guys, I fixed the game," and there was like 4 cards on the board, and then all of them had the brackets at the end, except with Infinity Stones. So like Mockingbird, except with Infinity Stones, and then it was like Call Obsidian. You need a 1-drop to play here, except Infinity Stones. So you any other 1-drop, but not an Infinity Stone, and you could play Call Obsidian. So. I mean, I guess you could do that, but I would like to see a Mockingbird hit, like regardless. Even though I'm the guy playing the Patriot deck.
Yeah, it's like your heroes on the board. Reduce the cost of this card. Stones aren't heroes, So that's it. Just have a new buzzword in the game. But anyways, I honestly, when I first saw the change, I was like, I texted No Big Deal. I'm like, oh, they fucking nuked Mindstone, baby. I'm like, it's going to be great. And then a couple days goes by and we're like, oh, fuck, it's still the best deck. Shit. And then, all right, we'll go to the next one. Psylocke just taking strays. Poor fucking Psylocke. 2/2 to a 2/1. Didn't do shit. So I think this is a stupid change. But anyways, what do you guys think?
I don't like it. I just... because to Joe's point, I think Psylocke does have viability in some other decks, and you kind of just kill that with this change. I mean, she gets discounted by Ravonna now, but other than that, it seems unnecessary. It seems like Psylocke was like kind of the 11th or 12th card in the Thanos deck, so you're not really going to hit the Thanos deck too much with the Psylocke. Like, she's not a crucial piece of the deck.
Yeah.
Yeah, Psylocke is old Rock Slide and old Collector, just taking strays for like Darkhawk and Loki. She's just taking strays for Thanos. Yes, she's the best and most prominent Thanos, obviously, yes. But, like, I mean, come on. When you're playing a 0/9, a fucking 2/1 doesn't matter.
Nope. Nope, not at all. Yeah.
What do you think,
Joe?
Yeah,
the card's dead now. Why even bother? Like you were saying, it's just like Collector taking a bullet for Loki. It's the same thing. It's the card is she is good in other decks. But now, she took a hit because of Thanos. I don't agree with it either. I don't think it was necessary. And, there were other things that they could have done. But I don't like it. And just for the fact that you're really not going to see her played anymore in the decks that she would have been played in prior to the change. So, nope, not happy with it.
Yeah. All right. Let's go with this poor fucking card here. Adam Warlock was a 5/4 and now is a 5/5. Go for it, guys.
You want to start, Joe?
Because Adam Warlock wore the Infinity Gauntlet once. There you go. Yes. That's what I'll say to that one too. Poor Adam Warlock, man. He should be such a cool card. He's a cool character. I don't know. I'm hoping maybe they're gonna someday make a Magus card. Magus is like the bad part of Adam War, like a bad side basically, or an evil Adam Warlock. So I don't know. Maybe at that point they'll make a better card. I get it. They're afraid of the drawing mechanic. They don't want it to get out of hand. I get it 100%. But if you're so afraid of it, just change his power. And just change the card. 5/5 is not going to make him playable. 5/4 certainly didn't make him playable. And this isn't going to do anything for him. It's a shame because he's such an iconic character. I know a lot of people don't really know him from the books. They know him more from the MCU. In the MCU, he was a goof because he was just basically he was a teenager. So in the Guardians film, he was kind of an idiot. But yeah, this card's never going to see any play, no matter how they do this. The drawing mechanic, what's it going to do? It's going to draw you one card, essentially. You get him out on turn 5, he's going to draw you one extra card on turn 6. So yeah, it's garbage, man. It's been garbage, and it's still put him back to what he was. Put him back to a 2/0. It's a better card than it is now.
Oh yeah, well, I agree with that 100%. Yeah, I mean, this is definitely worse than the 2/0 for sure. And I find it hilarious here that they put, one of the archetypes here we're interested is Cerebro 5. This is the most tone deaf shit I've ever seen in my life. Like a while ago, we were talking about how the devs say they don't balance the game around Cerebro or Mr. Negative at all. And like they've said that and they're happy about that. And I'm totally fine with that. I have no problem with them, doing that, right? But like this is the one Cerebro version where you don't actually need the card Cerebro. Like your cards are 5. He was somewhat playable in Cerebro 3. Like if he wasn't a shit card, like he would be awesome because you need the Mystique. You need Cerebro and Mystique. And these are like very important draws. In Cerebro 5, like you got a bunch of 5-power cards, like and some tech. Like you don't why like the Cerebro's great if you get them, but is it worth playing a 5/5 on turn 5? Not even close. This card is horrible, even as a 5/7. It, like Joe said, all right, you got Cerebro. Now he's a 5/7. It's a horrible card. What's the one card draw going to do? Like unbelievable change. And I can't believe they're wasting more time on this card to keep him complete dog shit.
Yeah. So I'll start with saying like they made a dog shit card, slightly less dog shit, but still dog shit.
Yes,
exactly.
Yep. We talked earlier on in this podcast in great detail about 2 separate Cerebro 5 decks that No Big Deal and Joe have both been playing to success on the ladder, and not one of those decks had Adam Warlock. I kind of respect a little bit. The devs want to see if it'll happen in Cerebro 5. But then I don't, because Adam Warlock suffers from the same problem that I think Phoenix Force suffered from when Phoenix Force was first released. He's a 5 fucking cost card. You have to be doing something really good or have huge stats like Devil Dino or Darkhawk or Ronin to even consider to be played as a 5 cost card. 5/5 is shit. 5/6 is shit. 5/7, maybe we're talking, but what's your payoff? Maybe you get one draw if you're winning the lane on turn 6. Like, who gives a shit? Do you really care that much about one draw? Like, is that really bad? Like, he should be a 5/7 or a 5/8, honestly. And then like let people put him in the deck to get one extra draw, and then we're talking. That's kind of a cool card. Make him a 5/7. Then maybe he can see some play.
Yeah, maybe Hella, maybe like a Hella. I don't know, 5/7.
Yeah. And even then, you got to play a 5/7.
Yeah,
and hope that you win that game, that lane.
If you don't have your Hella already, then you just YOLO Warlock on 5. I mean, that sounds
like you have to be winning that lane though, right? Like,
oh yeah, no, it's
So, and that's not even a guarantee in some of these games.
No,
So, and if you're like losing 2 lanes and you're winning 1, and you play a 5/7 on that list, like on that lane, is like one draw going to change the tides? No.
Not at all.
I like him better as a lower. I think they should explore him as a lower cost. Maybe like a 3 cost or something with a little bit of power, and just see if he gets broken.
Yeah.
This is what a nice sandbox mode would be good for. Just make him like a 2/2, and then only in the sandbox mode, and then like see if people are just like going, this is going to be nuts. But like, I don't know. This is poor Adam Warlock. Like you said, Joe, he's an iconic character, and he's just getting hosed. And what's worse is that I had a premium mystery variant and I got a fucking Adam Warlock variant. And I'm like, well, that's never gonna see the light of day. I fucking texted, no big deal. I'm like, here's my sweet Adam Warlock variant. It's a fucking fire variant. I'm like, I'm never gonna use this goddamn thing. And yeah. So maybe one day I will use it, but not any day soon.
He has amazing variants too. You're right, 100%. Like
they're so cool.
He has some really, really awesome variants. But yeah, it's a shame, man. It really is. I get it, but yeah, and to your points, if you're waiting on turn 5 for a card that you need that badly, maybe other than Hela, 9 times out of 10, you're not staying in that game anyway. So it's even meaningless for that too. So yeah, I don't know. It's a shame. I hope they decide at one point either to change it somehow or do something with it, because like you said, he's an iconic character in Marvel, and it's just, this card is just garbage.
Yeah. Yeah, poor Adam Warlock.
Yes.
And you think that would be it for the OTAs, but no. What's up, Glenn Jones? You listen to the How Can She Snap podcast, because we, and mainly No Big Deal, have been talking about just buffing these goddamn Guardians of the Galaxy for so long now.
Yeah.
That
months. Yeah.
They finally changed them, and they went with a approach of, they want all of them to gain the exact same amount of power. So they kind of change their. We'll go over one by one. So they all gain +4 power now if your opponent played a card here this turn. So Rocket Raccoon, we'll go over them. Obviously, he's a 1/1 and now is a +4 power, so he can be a +5. To me, it seems like a pretty sweet card, pretty sweet change. 1/5 is a great payoff. This is exactly what we like to see. You have a low floor, high ceiling. Sick for these cards. Rock Raccoon, I love it.
Yep. Go ahead, No Big Deal.
What do you guys think?
Well, okay. So first of all, hallelujah. Let's go. They took our advice.
Yeah.
They listened. Yeah, I've been clamoring for this change for a long time. I still think they're a long ways off. I will say that. I think they're a long ways off. They did not. And I will say, the kid, I didn't read they wanted them all +4. I didn't even though I've literally been playing these cards for the last 2 days, I actually didn't realize they're all +4. They need to fucking forget about that real quick. Like, let's stop with the bullshit. All right, like, whoa, Punisher and Captain America, they have to be asymmetrical ability. No. There's a 3/3, and okay, no, both cards are shit. Forget about it. Forget this stuff where this card has to be this to match this card because the lore doesn't match, and the Iron Lad, and the Iron Man. It's like, stop it. +4, all of them is a horrible idea. Like, listen, I'm happy you guys took the first baby step in the right direction, but this archetype's still very far off. But I will say I like the changes. Rocket Raccoon, Star-Lord in particular. Those are the two that I think they really nailed. And the other 3 cards I still think are pretty rough.
We'll go one by one. What do you have, Rocket Raccoon?
Perfect. It's an actual card now, and that's great.
That's a great thought that you had there. I kind of dig it because, all right, now look at it. Because you mentioned Punisher, right? Rocket uses, what does he use? He uses guns. So give him the same thing that Punisher gets. Make him a 1/1 and have him +2 to every other card that's on that side. Or something along those lines, or may even make him ongoing. I like that. I like it. Make it more towards what their powers are. But he's good. He's a 1/5 now. That's a great stat line. We were just talking a little bit earlier about Martyr. You have Ant-Man at that stat line now. So Titania is obviously that stat line, and a lot of people use it. So this fits. This will fit in Zoo if people are playing that. This fits really well in the lockdown. A lot of times you're going to get that first turn prediction of where they're going to play. Most of the time people play their cards on the left lane to start because you're not seeing the other lanes. So you're more than likely, if you have them in your opening hand, going to get the bonus. So right off the bat, it's good for priority. So I like it. I like the +4. I'm cool with that on Rocket. I think it's good.
Yeah, I think Rocket's good. Go ahead. What were you going to say?
Well, I was just going to say 1/4 was playable. And Joe, I did want to make my position clear. I'm saying I don't care about the lore at all. Like, forget about the lore. Forget about the Punisher, Captain America stuff. We don't need them all to be +4.
Oh, like, I agree. I don't think they have to be the same. Yeah, no, I agree with that. Yeah, I think they should all do their own thing. Yeah.
Star-Lord's cool. 2/2, and now it's like it was +3, and now it's +4. So now he can be a 2/6. Pretty sweet stats, like Maximus.
Yep.
You know, great. I think great change. Agreed?
Yeah, I agree with that. 2/6 is good.
This changes this to me is the biggest change out of all of them. I think Star-Lord is like really interesting 2-drop right now. I think there's multiple decks you can play him in. Obviously Lockdown. If Sarah Control ever comes back, I think he's going to be in that deck for sure. Like a 1/6 is ridiculous. I've had a few games already, and it happened in the Snap Judge League too with Devilish's deck. He was playing, and you get like a cloning Vats or something. They're always going to play cloning Vats, so you Star-Lord's 2/6, then you play 2/6, and that comes to 2/10, and then you play a 2/10, it comes to 2/14. And if the 2/14 hits, it's like got him. It's a fantastic thing, and obviously that kind of stuff doesn't happen every game, but a 2/6 is very important because what was the reason to not play Silk or Lizard or one of these other cards? It's just very easily like a 2/5. It doesn't take much to get a 2/5 these days, and then 2/6 was Maximus. So with a downside, now you got Star-Lord as an alternative to Maximus. Doesn't draw your opponent 2 cards, but the downside is it might be a 2/2, which sucks. So I love this change. And like I said from the beginning, months ago, low base power, high payoff. That's how you build the Guardians cards. That's what make this deck super interesting. And for Rocket Raccoon and Star-Lord, we absolutely have that now. And I think that's a beautiful thing. And the changes from here on out only get shittier and make me a little bit sad.
Yeah. So let's talk about that. Groot was a 3/4, can get +4, +2 power. Now he's a 3/3 that can get +4 power. So he can maybe be a 3/7 if you have a condition. So he's a conditional 3/7, which is fucking horrible. What are they doing? They're changing these cards. Like, well, he should be a 3/4 +4. So at least Gladiator Chadiator's a 3/8 with a downside. This is a 3/3 with a downside. At least like if you miss on him, you're playing a 3/3, which feels fucking horrible. If you miss on Chadiator, then you have a big card out, but at least you can Shang-Chi it later, or do something with it. You can interact with it at a later date. This is garbage. I feel bad for Groot. He was horrible before. He's still horrible. I heard some people say, "Oh, maybe he can be played in Surfer now." I don't know. I don't see it personally. There's so many other better cards than him.
Threes, yeah. You can play around with Negasonic or something like.
I'd way rather play Negasonic. Yeah.
100%. I agree. When Groot and Drax are just screwed up, and they both are. I mean, no one's going to play either one of them, I don't think. Groot is, again, when if you look at them from a standpoint of even what their counterparts are supposed to be, Groot's pretty damn strong character, and even if you look at him in movies, he's a strong character. He should be better than a 3/3, like you said. Start him at a 3/5 or something like Polaris, and then give him the bonus where he can go to like a 3/9. I don't know, but yeah, I agree with you. I don't think he's great at all. And even now, when you're seeing these being played, last couple of days I've been playing, in the lockdown decks that people are using, neither one of the cards, Groot or Drax, are being played in those decks. So yeah, I agree.
Yeah, make him a 3/2 +7.
Yeah, make
there you go.
3/9.
Thank you. That's I was gonna say that, but yeah, we'll get
3/2 +7. That's awesome. You're playing Groot against me. I'm snapping. All right, people out there on the streets in Marvel Snap. If I see a Groot, you're getting snapped instantly.
Yep.
Yeah. So second dinner, keep it positive. All right. For now, because I already said some mean things. I'm happy you guys are listening to my sweet idea of how to change these cards. And you absolutely nailed it for Rocket Raccoon and Star-Lord. So Groot, like the kid said, either 3/2 +7, and you think, oh my God, that's so broken. I don't want that to be so broke. 3/9, like, oh, it's going to break the game. Okay, if that's going to break the game, then we go 3/1 +8. Okay, we just need the payoff. If you got a 3/9 on the board because you read their soul, like I think you deserve it. You deserve a 3/9. It's hard to predict what lane they're going to go in. Like, there are things you can do to help, but especially as a 3-drop, it's earlier in the game. The lanes are more open. Like, let's give some actual payoff. Not it goes to a 3/7, which, we can get from a lot of 3-drops if we need to.
They just released a 0/9.
They did.
Yeah.
They just released a 0/9. That's way easier condition to meet than this.
or let's say a 3/9, right? Let's say Mockingbird's a 3/9, right? It's just a straight 3/9. You don't have to guess what lane they're playing in. Like Mockingbird is very easily just a 3/9, you know? Like you could play 2 Thanos stones, you know, you could play a Squirrel Grower, a Mysterio, you know? So like that, he should at least match that.
He's still susceptible to Shadow King too. So
yeah.
You know, and then let's get into the next one, Drax. These two poor Groot and Drax, man, they tried so hard with these guys. He was a 4-6 plus 2 power. Now he's a 4-5 plus 4 power. I mean, again, you're gonna play a 4-9, a possible 4-9 when you could play a 0-9. Why wouldn't you just play Call Obsidian, who's a 4-10? Why don't you play Sentry, who's a 4-10, possibly a 4-20 with an Eyeless? You know, why on earth would you ever play this card? I can't think. Rescue is easier 4-9. Jessica Jones is an easier 4-9, way easier 4-9. He needs to be like, you know, a 4-5 plus 6, you know, plus 7 again. Make him a 4-12. Fuck it, you know, if you get the payoff. Or make him, even like if you don't want to do like low floor, high ceiling, this guy can easily be a 4-7, you know, plus 4. So you can get a 4-11. Just that way, at least you get a nice 4-7 body. You know, and if people think a 4-7 body is going to break the game or something, is going to be too powerful, how many people are unironically putting Hercules in their decks? He's a 4-7. Motherfucker never gets played. 4-7's not that powerful. No, 4 drops are all broken. They could easily make him a 4-7 plus 4 if they want to do this plus 4 bullshit. So I don't know. He's a piece of shit card out of 4-5. This is fucking brutal.
Yep.
I feel bad for Drax.
No doubt, man. Poor guy loses his family and can't get a good card in Marvel Snap.
Yeah, R.I.P. Batista, but you know he's in the Doom movies now, so shout out to him. And yeah, man, this Drax change is sad. This Drax change is sad. I don't love it. And to the kid's point, I think he should be a 4-12. I think he should be 4-2 plus 10. You know, if you read it, he gets plus 10. If that's not good enough, 4-3 plus 10. Like get him up to 4-12, 4-13. And if you think that's going to be broken at the 2 cost, going to make Zabu stronger, then second dinner, it's time to move Drax to 6 cost. He's the big boy. He's the big boy of the Guardians. Get him next to Hulk. Get him next to Red Hulk, Blob, all these big boys. He's the big boy. So let's get him a 6 drop. Let's have him boost up to like 6-16, 6-17, something like that. And, you know, 6-10 plus 7, something like that. And, you know, that's what you need to do is either move him to 6 or make him go to 12 power when he, or the kid's point, 4-7 plus 4 is also great if you really need to keep this plus 4 bullshit. I do like that a lot actually too. So either of those, but you know, this is just you're doing them dirty. You're doing Batista dirty here.
Poor Batista.
Yeah, a six is real interesting, man. Even like a 6-10 plus 10, but that's ridiculous. But like a 6-10 plus 7 or plus 8.
Yeah,
that's a cool card now. Now you're talking.
Yeah,
he's a strong character.
Yeah, 6-8
too,
plus 10.
dude.
You know, if you want to do the plus 10.
Yeah,
like, anything. Yeah. Something cool. That's a little bit below Infinite. Like you don't want to turn into Infinite.
100%, man. I agree. Yeah, I agree. I would love to see him be as strong. He should be. I mean, what? In the one movie, he almost took a ship or stopped the ship from crashing by himself. He's a strong dude. So yeah, I agree. This card is just garbage as well. So I agree 100%.
Poor Drax. And Gamora got a buff, so you know you like to see it. This is a cool change. She's a 5-7, now she's a 5-8, and she can end up being a 5-12. Great, I liked it. I don't know.
Yeah, essentially it's the same. Essentially the same card, right? 7 plus 5 gave her 12. She's still really the same thing. 8 and 4 is 12 with the buff. Yeah, I always liked Gamora. I mean, I played Gamora.
She's a bigger body.
I played Gamora a lot. Early renditions of Galactus decks that I played, she was always a great card to get down. If you played the Galactus on the next turn, she just gives you that big stat line. So I'm fine with it. It's really not going to change it much, really at all. I mean, she's just a better stat line now when you play her and you don't get it if it fails. So yeah, I'm okay with her where she is.
I don't like this change.
Because
to exactly what Joe said, it's the same fucking card. It's the exact same card. Effectively, this is the exact same card as it used to be. It's you know, if it doesn't hit, you're probably losing. And if it hits, at least she did what you wanted to. It's the same amount of power if she hits. And usually you want to like secure priority for your Goliath is what you're trying to do with this card. Typically Gamora, which, you know, it's fine now. It's the exact same card. And, you know, there's a kid's point, like with the Adam Warlock, 5-drops need to be ridiculous. They have to have massive impact. Or I think she should be bigger than a 5/12 if she hits. That's my issue with this card. Why is 5/12 the ceiling on her when like Darkhawk, Dino, Ronin, you get to 16, 17, 18 very easily. And Gamora, I still have to like read where my opponent's playing. And oh my God, if I'm wrong, like God, I just used 5 freaking energy on missing. Like that feels horrible. So I like 5/5 plus 10 or something, you know? Get this to a 5/15 if she hits. But then 5/5 if she misses, and she's like shadier Adam Warlock, you know, like she misses right out of 5/5. So I would like to see that Gamora. I think this is a weak change. I think it's a waste of time, and I think it's just waste of time. It's another bullshit side grade, which is they've been doing a lot of that kind of stuff lately, and it's just starting to tilt me a little bit.
Do you think that Gamora specifically, the reason why they're going this path is because of Daredevil? Because like if you can get a 5/14 reliably, that's pretty broken. But I mean, I guess Devil, Dino, and Darkhawk and stuff, and Ronin, they're pretty reliably big.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That would have been my exact answer to your question. You should answer your own question. Yeah.
5/4 plus 10, 5/5 plus 9.
Yes.
I love it.
One of those. Yeah. And then she goes to 14. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. You still got to guess where they play. Like, you know,
yeah. And she's a later turn. So sometimes that's not going to be very easy because people are going to try to outmaneuver you on those last couple of turns. So yeah, it's not really easy to do. So yeah, I wouldn't mind that. I wouldn't mind that.
Yeah. Anyways, what do you guys think of the OTAs in general? What do you think about this patch overall?
Go ahead. No big deal.
Oh, I really liked it. All the bad things you said about the Guardians cards, I'm fired up. They did it. Like I'm happy they did it. They're looking, they're listening, they're watching, and I don't even like love the movies or anything. I just think it's a cool archetype. It's a cool concept. Trying to guess where they played, get rewarded for it. I'd love to see some changes to Jean Grey and Punisher as well. I think Nebula is already great. Definitely don't need to nerf Nebula or change her or anything. Like Nebula's ridiculous already. So. You can leave that card alone, but yeah, man, I'd love to see him do more with this archetype. I'd like to see this as like just be an archetype in the game at some point, like an actual deck you can show up with. Like, yeah, I'm playing Guardians, like, and it's not weird, like so I like that a lot. Happy they nerfed Thanos. I mean, maybe it wasn't that big of a nerf, but they directly nerfed Thanos, so I'm not going to complain about that. They hit the second best deck as well. They hit the discard, so to me, W patch. Good job, Second Dinner. Please keep doing these OTAs and don't do like another Valentine's Day event.
Joe, what do you think overall? Final thoughts on this patch?
Man.
OTA?
I was all right. I mean, the Guardians are okay. They needed something, so I'm all right with that. The Adam Warlock thing, who cares? I love the Captain Marvel change. I thought that was fantastic. And the Psylocke change is just going to hurt that card. Not even in Thanos, they probably won't even play it anymore. And the Thanos change, yeah, big fat thumbs down for that one for me. I like I said, to me, you keep dancing around the problem. And the problem isn't the stones. You've tried it with the Soul Stone. You tried it with the mind. You're trying it with all of these stones, and that's not the problem. Yes, they're not going to give them the capability of snapping on turn 1 anymore, which is good, I guess. But it's not. You're not fixing the problem. And I just think what it comes down to is what are you going to do with it? It's almost like, is it a rework? Do they want to rework the card because so many people like it as a deck type and stuff? So yeah, I don't know. To me, I don't know what they're going to do with it. And people have asked me, well, what would you do? I honestly don't have an answer. I don't know what to say, because if you do change it, you're going to change the whole archetype of it. you're going to change everything probably. So, but yeah, overall, I don't mind it at all. I think it was pretty good. They hit on a lot of things. Here. You're seeing people playing the Guardians now, which is kind of cool, obviously, other than Groot and Drax. You're seeing, so yeah, if their intention was to kind of shake things up a little bit, I think it's pretty safe to say that they did that. But the Thanos problem, I just don't know. I don't know what you're going to do to try to change this up, where that's not going to be the best deck in the game. So we'll see.
Yeah, I think WOTA. I like that. I like that they like. I kind of share the same sentiment as No Big Deal a little bit. Like, yeah, I'm complaining about a couple of stuff, but like, I like how they're changing stuff. I like how they're trying to shake things up a little bit. Captain Marvel change was great. They're trying to hit Thanos. They knocked discard down a little bit. The Psylocke is a little bit weird. Changing the Guardians was awesome. I think this is like just good. It's a good direction. I love having these OTAs. It's nice to see that they mess with the game a little bit. I disagree with you a little bit, Joe, with the stone. I think the stones are the biggest issue with Thanos. That's what makes him insane, is the stones. Like, it's just, those are the engine for everything. I don't know how they change them. You can't make them all 2 cost. Maybe make them all 0 power. I have no idea. Like, just like take away all their power. Like, they just are all 0 power. So you're playing 1/0s all the time. Maybe that'll do something. I don't know. Maybe it won't.
Yeah. That's an interesting idea, actually.
They just drive everything, because like now you have Hope Summers and you just play 1-drops on Hope Summers to ramp. It's so easy with the 1-drops to ramp. I don't think you take away their draws, because then you just kill the whole archetype. And I don't know. Maybe that's what you need to do at this point. But
well, then Joe said you'd have to rework if you did something like that, right? Why take away the draw when you may as well just rework them? At that point,
the whole thing would have to be reworked, and I don't necessarily want to see that, because I think it's a cool archetype. I like it. I play the deck.
Yeah.
And I was excited to get Thanos when it first came out, way back. And even though nobody figured the card out for the first 4 months that it was out, but yeah, I don't want to see that happen. I just don't also, like I said earlier, want to see other cards like die for his sins, so to speak. Like Psylocke now is a dead card. Mockingbird, you were saying, is too powerful probably anyway, so she's probably going to get nerfed anyway. But if Cull ends up dying for him too, it's like, I don't know, where do you draw the line where you got to stop killing off cards just because they're too good in Thanos? So I don't know.
Yeah, and the fun fact too, I'm pretty sure Psylocke as a 2/1 was still in all these tournament decks that in the Lambie Open today.
There you go.
All the winning. I'm pretty sure. I'm almost positive Psylocke was in most of them. It did nothing. So.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, talking about all these new cards, let's get into a smooth transition into talking about some of the spotlights, something we haven't done. And in April, the new cards coming out in April, because they changed some of those.
They certainly did.
Yeah. So we kind of talked about Cannonball and Miss Marvel, Kitty Pryde this week. I mean, if you don't have Miss Marvel and Kitty Pryde, it's a good week to pick up spotlights. A good week to use spotlight caches. Cannonball is kind of like a bonus. Miss Marvel's a great card. Kitty's in a pretty good spot now, especially with the Elsa buff recently. People are using Kitty Pryde, so there's some decks that are where she's viable. So it's a decent week. I think.
dig the Ms. Marvel. I dig the Ms. Marvel variant. I have it. I like
cool,
her. She looks a lot like the actress that played her in the TV series, which is kind of why I dig it. But no, definitely. For sure. If you don't have those cards, definitely one to grab, because Ms. Marvel's just a deck type, basically all on her own. And like you said, Kitty's coming back around. So yeah, I agree.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we'll talk about next week real quick. Man. We got War Machine, Silver Samurai, and Silk. So Silver Samurai unfortunately doesn't see too much play. Not really a card worth opening spotlights for. I forget is he Series 3 or Series 4? They should say here, right? Series 4.
I think they dropped him in the last series drop, I want to say.
Yeah, he's Series 4.
He came out as 5, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, he's all right to do 3,000 tokens. Silk's still a pretty good card. Series 5. She's in a lot of decks, and she's good. War Machine seems like he's going to be a pretty cool card. How good is he going to be? I don't know. It's very tough to say. I think he's going to be pretty good, but I don't think he's going to be broken. But I think he's going to be a very good card.
Yeah,
I could see him getting a little cracked. I could see a pathway, I talked, we talked a little bit before the show about, you could do some crazy degenerate stuff. Like you can, flood all the locations, and your War Machine lets you access them. There's some crazy lines like that, but I think something with like Ebony Maw, Infinite might get really degenerate. Like I'm seeing like you go Hope Summers, Shuri maybe, or no? Does that work? No, you can't Infinite, and you'd have to War Machine Infinite on the same turn. But even just playing War Machine on turn 5 and then just dropping an Infinite wherever you want on the next turn, that sounds like pretty ridiculous, right? Like, and not only can you play it like you just play Infinite normally, but you could play it anywhere. So if there's like you can't play here, or a Prof X lane or a Storm lane, like I don't know, I could see some really degenerate shit coming out of this card. I think it could get crazy, but we'll see. I don't actually know, but we'll see.
Some of the top ladder people were saying this is a Thanos card, and I'm starting to see it now. Because if you have Hope Summers, I mean, you play a War Machine and a Stone on turn 5. In turn 6, you could Infinite Ebony Maw and another Stone with 8 energy. 8 energy, right? You get 8 energy on turn 6 if you play War Machine and someone else in a Stone into Hope Summers.
Yeah.
So you can play Infinite. I mean, that's not always going to happen. It's rarely going to happen, but it probably happened often enough.
Yeah, maybe we bring back Lockjaw and Thanos, right? And just put the Infinite in there. Blob's coming back, and I could see some really degenerate shit happening with this card for sure. Because I mean, his effect's crazy. Like this is a pretty crazy effect, right?
Yeah.
But it's just like just playing a 4/6. Like Iron Lad has a crazy effect too, and it's not. And like Iron Lad's a very very good card in Marvel Snap, but Iron Lad's not like staple meta piece in every single top deck. I think the top couple decks, like say Thanos and Discard, like they don't really run Iron Lad. So, and he's a 4/6 with a crazy effect. So it might not be crazy enough to justify the 4/6, and that's why RIP White Queen. I mean, Jesus Christ, I can't believe she's still a 4/6. But they gotta bump her up. But I don't know. I can see this card being pretty crazy. And then I mean, I'm a big time Silk believer. Samurai, I love the card, but he is very niche, and you definitely don't need him in your collection.
Yep. War Machine, man, all I gotta say is Galactus Sanctum, baby. That's all I'm saying about that one. But yeah, he's going to be interesting. I don't know. As so many people are building that up and building that up and building that up, and a lot of times what you see is when that happens, and everybody's like, "Oh my God, he's a make any card of Jeff the Shark." Yes, the Infinite thing is busted. I mean, he can be now your 6th turn doesn't matter what you do, you can play him anywhere. So there are going to be some combos I think you're going to see that are going to get busted with him. And I'm certainly going to try it and see how it goes. I'm going to get the card because it just looks fun. I don't know if he's going to be broken. But he, I think, probably has not probably, but he has the possibility of maybe being broken, depending on, like No Big Deal was referring to, messing around with Legion and locations, things like that. Yes, that can get crazy. Please don't appear in Thanos. We don't need any more help for the Thanos deck. Thank you very much. But yeah, he's going to be a fun card. Overall, the month itself has pretty much been a fun month overall with some pretty decent cards. Plus, not to mention, people just love this character. Ever since the comic books, the Avengers films, and all that kind of stuff, he's a really well loved character. So I think a lot of people are going to get it anyway. But yeah, I'm looking forward to playing him. I think he's going to be fun to play.
Yeah, and even I was thinking like he might be okay in some Black Knight decks too, right? Because you already run Infinite. So if you don't hit the Infinite with the Blade or something like that, you can War Machine Infinite maybe on turn 6 or something. If you don't pop off that way, he might be cool
too. Yeah,
I think it'll be a really cool card. I'm excited to see him.
Yep, same here.
April cards
for sure. Yeah.
So let's talk about some of the new April cards. We kind of talked about Red Hulk last week a lot with Zal. Zal loved Red Hulk. Do you have any thoughts on that, Joe? On Red Hulk?
It's a cool card. It's an anti high Evo card, which is kind of neat. We don't see that much. Well, I mean, at least I don't. But high Evo is, still a good deck. you know, and now a lot of them have hope in their decks and stuff like that. So, you know, people are not spending that extra power. And I know somebody even said too, I forget, I was listening to somebody talk about it, but someone even mentioned too, they're really good card against any deck that's gonna not use up all their power. Maybe even a Thanos deck. Although he's probably going to be in a Thanos deck, which is he's just going to be another big card that's going to go in there. So yeah, he looks fun, and you know, from me and my standpoint, I like the character. I think he's a cool character. Obviously, General Ross in the comics turns into Red Hulk. In the movies, it's so crazy to think about, but he's going to be played by Harrison Ford. So you're going to see Harrison Ford's face on that big Red Hulk body, which is going to be insane. So yeah, I think this is going to be fun. Sebastian Shaw, I really never play the card. He's a surfer card, and I don't play surfer very much at all. Echo, very good in only certain situations and certain metas. Again, cool concept. She was great against Ms. Marvel when Ms. Marvel was running rampant, because you could just throw her in the middle lane and know that they can't play that card there. But all in all, yeah, I like Red Hulk. I think it's a good card.
Yeah. All right. I guess
real quick, kid, on the Red Hulk
season pass.
I think Joe made a good point where Shaw and Echo are pretty niche, right? So, where are you going with this, kid?
I'm going to do Zemo. Go ahead.
Oh yeah,
those aren't confirmed though, you know.
Oh, okay. So it's not a confirmed cache. If the cache stays like that, Echo and Shaw are, you know, fine cards, but they're extremely niche, and it's probably not a great week to roll. But the Red Hulk card might just be so crazy that, you know, we're probably gonna have to get the actual Red Hulk card himself. So I think that's gonna be a priority pickup. It's just such a good generic big 6-drop.
Yep.
But
yeah, no, he's good. I couldn't find Baron Zemo here. I don't want to go through a ton of stuff. What is he? He's a 3/4 now.
Yeah, I think he's a 3/4.
I think he's a 3/4. Recruit your opponent's lowest cost card onto your side of the board.
Mm-hmm.
They use the word recruit. So he was a 4/5. Now he's a 3/4, which makes him pretty interesting. He's a season pass card for April.
I think that's a big nerf he was a 4/6, wasn't he?
Yeah, he's now a 3/4. I think. Yeah, I think you're right. I think he was a 4/6. Yeah.
Yeah, he was a 4/6. So they nerfed Baron Zemo, which is like pretty interesting, right? So in their testing, the card was broken as a 4/6. So I don't know. I find that kind of interesting. They just did the bullshit Yondu change. Do you? You know, here's the question. I want to ask you guys a philosophical question.
There we go.
Right?
Let's get some philosophy.
Is this guy gonna bring back the card Grandmaster?
Baron Zemo? No, I don't think so.
You don't think so? So we play a Yondu, and then with Grandmaster hits the next lowest card, and then we play Zemo. Or you play Zemo, and then you play Grandmaster on the Zemo, another Zemo. We start ripping these cards out of their deck. I mean, Mantis can't do it anymore, but we get Cable. We get Cable going. Like
Ravonna on 2. Grandmaster is 1.
There you go. Boom.
Is it worth playing a 2/0? I don't know.
Yeah,
probably not. Yeah. So probably not.
Then maybe you need the Vona make it a 1/0. But I'm thinking, like, you know, if you Yondu first, if you double Yondu, or if you double Zemo, I think the last card that you pull out of the deck is going to be like a really good card. You're going to hit like a 4 cost card at that point, because they're going to play their early stuff. You rip a couple out preemptively. That sounds like a kind of fun, interesting deck type to me. I'm definitely excited to try that deck out. I mean, it might be absolute dog shit. Like, it could be horrible, but I'm excited to try the deck out.
I'm 100% going to try that deck, because then also you put Falcon and Beast in there and you start doing the mill bullshit, and it's hilarious. Yeah. I love that kind of deck. And now Zemo actually gives it power, because before I made a pretty nice mill deck, and it only lost because people retreated because I milled their entire deck. Mm-hmm. Then you have Baron Mordo as well, makes everything a 6/6 cost, like he's another 2-drop. Cable rips it out of their deck. Mm-hmm. So yeah, you have all these cards that you can just mess with them. It's probably going to be horrible, but it'd probably be a lot of fun though. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I don't know. Zemo seems like an okay card. I think it seems like a pretty cool card for a season pass. Yeah. So, you know, even just slotting him in as a 3-drop and stealing their lowest cost card, it's pretty good. Not good against Thanos, but I mean, I don't know.
There's not much that is.
Well, if you hit a draw, you hit like a, you know.
I guess if you hit a draw, if you hit a draw stone,
hit a time stone, like you hit a time stone, it's pretty nice.
Yeah.
Soul Stone might be okay sometimes, you know, because as a 3/4, you pull a Soul Stone, that's not bad.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But anyways,
I
I like
love
Zemo.
the
He's cool.
character. I always have. So
Yeah.
I hope.
I think weirdly not a surfer card probably. I don't think you want to clog your side of the board. You know, you're playing
No.
Brood and shit. Yeah, I don't think you're
Yeah.
gonna play
Yeah.
that in surfer.
Then we have U.S. Agent, who has changed, which is yeah, I didn't like him before. He was like a 2/6 -1 and everything.
Yeah.
But now he's a 2/2 with an ongoing ability, which is like a man thing, but only it's your 4, 5, and 6 cost cards here have -3 power. So he's like a man thing for big cards.
Joe, are we putting them in the man thing deck?
I'm kind of digging this. Yeah. I mean, absolutely. You play this in a deck that you have Man Thing for the small cards and him for the big cards on both ends, and then you have Luke Cage and Hazmat in that deck too. Absolutely, man. I'm in. I think it's great. I like the change. It's definitely going to be more useful than what it was. So now, obviously, it's going to really hurt you if you don't get a Luke Cage in play. So that can really lose you games, no doubt. But I like him. I like him for his cost. And you know, the value is there if you're going to play a deck like Junk. And you know, even if you play Debris and if you do all that kind of stuff, maybe he fits into an Annihilus deck. But I like the change, actually. I think it's cool.
Yeah, I think he'll be okay. I don't know how good he is at a 2/2. I mean, if you hit one card, then he's a 2/5. Maybe that's okay. But like, if like what cards is he hitting? Like blobs, like it's a 6/20. Is he 6/17? Does that matter? Probably not.
Yeah.
Like a Sentry at 4/7, like that matters, I guess, right? You can't Shang-Chi it, but it still matters, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like a Nihilus becomes a 5/3. Yeah. So I guess in certain circumstances it's okay.
Elias,
it's just
Elias -1. that might actually come up.
That's true, actually.
Yeah, because normally you play your Elias in the lane like it's even or whatever, but if you're going to -1, it might matter.
That's true, actually. Yeah, it's kind of a good
Goliath
call.
Killer. All right, I like it.
Yeah, you played on.
So he's going to be he'll be an interesting card, I'd say.
Oh, I wonder what's better, this card or Goose. I wonder. This is kind of like a Goose, right? Like this reminds me a lot of the card Goose now.
Yeah, this is like a reactive Goose. Goose is like proactive, right?
Yeah, that's you can play this on 6 and it's good. It's good on turn 5 and 6. That's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this makes Mockingbird a 0/5 instead of a 0/9. No, sorry, 0/6.
No, you're 6. Fucking busted.
But at least it hits that card.
Still just sitting there with 6 power.
Yeah. I like this change more. It's more of an interesting card now. Mm-hmm. They also changed Red Guardian here too. He's a 3/3 now. On reveal, afflict the lowest power enemy card here with -2 power and remove its text. So I think before he was just a 3/2, remove the text from the lowest power card. Now he's a 3/3. The lowest power card gets -2 power and removes its text. So a pretty big buff, I think. He seems interesting. I don't know. If you get cards like Zabu, you get rid of Zabu's text. Like it's pretty good. Ravona, get rid of their text and -2 power. He's an interesting tech card. I'll say that. He sparks my interest.
Let me tell you, I'm going in my discard deck. I'm looking at that card, Dracula.
Oh yeah.
Pour one out for my boy Dracula. Pour one out.
Oh yeah.
All right, Dracula dead card with this thing. Oh, this is the Dracula killer right here, man. Like it's extremely reliable. It's not 2099. They wanted it to be 2099. It's the Red Guardian. Dracula's dead. I think we take him out. We put like Wong in the deck or something like that. We're going for Wong, crazy Wong, helicarrier shenanigans now. Yeah, I don't know, man. This literally might kill Dracula.
Dracula killer. What about a Tribunal killer too? I mean, you get rid of Iron Man.
Iron Man.
You know, that's another one.
Mystique.
Yeah, like any of that kind of stuff. Yeah, no doubt.
Cerebro?
Oh no, not Cerebro.
Yeah.
Cerebro. Yeah, any of those low cost cards.
Yeah, they're taming that Adam Warlock C5 deck. That's going to be out of control by April.
Man. Yeah, got to stop it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's funny. They also put Lady Deathstrike here in the cache. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's not confirmed. They'll probably change it, but go ahead. No big deal. What were you going to say?
Dracula jokes aside, but I'm serious about the Dracula thing. But this is a pretty interesting change. I think this card was not interesting before, similar to U.S. Agent, right? It was just kind of just a guy before. I definitely would have played it, as a 2/6, 2/5, whatever the hell it was, but I wouldn't have had too much fun playing Marvel Snap. Now U.S. Agent has a pretty fun and Marvel Snap kind of effect. Because Goose is kind of interesting effect too, and so is Man Thing, obviously. And now we got Red Guardian, who this is a 3-cost leech. I mean, that's what it is.
Yeah.
It's a mini leech. It doesn't hit the entire hand; it hits a 1 card. But that's kind of cool, right? Like I don't know, it leeches a card on the board. There's nothing in the game that does that. I think Zabu is like an awesome hit with this. I think Ravonna is an awesome hit. Like just turn Zabu into a 2/0 that does nothing. Like that's pretty sick, right? So it's interesting.
Yeah, it's cool, and it's a good stat too, because like a 3/3 is horrible. Like feels really bad to play.
Yeah,
a lot of the time. So like it has to be a decent
He'd kill
effect.
Lockjaw too.
So now now we got the 3/5 exactly.
He'd kill Lockjaw too, wouldn't he?
Pardon me.
Well,
Lockjaw's a 4/5.
Oh, that's right.
No, it does -2 power now, kid. So they changed it. It used to not do the -2 power.
Yeah.
Now it's a 3/5 basically, right?
Well, no. Joe said it'll kill Lockjaw. I said Lockjaw's a 4/5.
Oh yeah, Lockjaw's a beefy
right.
boy now.
About that change.
Yeah. He's a big beefy boy. But anyway, I like this card. It's really cool. And then they nuked White Widow appropriately because she was busted ass fucking card before. So now she's a 2/2. On reveal, add a Widow's Kiss to your opponent's side of this location. And the Widow's Kiss is a 0/-4 that has an ongoing effect that says if this lane is full, get rid of the text basically. Or get rid of the -4.
Yeah, it's
So I think it'll just be like a 0/0 or something. So I still think it's a cool card for junk. It's not obviously not like a broken card like it was before, but I think it's going to be interesting in junk decks. Just like there's not too many cards that like whip things on your opponent's side. This one will have something on your opponent's side, which I think is pretty cool.
And it's a -4. It's not like you're not.
Here's
here's
the Widow's Kiss. The Widow's Kiss is a 0/0 ongoing. This has -4 power. Disable this ability if your side of this location is full. So yeah, it's interesting.
That's not bad. That's not.
No, it's a lot worse, but yeah.
Oh yeah, well,
Joe, what do you think about the new White Widow? You think it's good, or you think it's you don't like this change?
I mean, obviously, I would have rather play around with the broken one, but that was never going to happen. That was never going to happen. So, I mean, I don't know. I'm thinking about it as a, like you were saying, for a junk deck, it would work in my Man Thing deck too, probably, because you're throwing that -4 over there, and you just make sure you don't fill the lane. And most of the time, that's not the lane you fill. A Man Thing can hold on to that lane with maybe one other card. So yeah, I don't mind it. I mean, it could have been worse, but the broken one would have been insane. So there's no way that was coming out like that. So, but no, I don't mind it. It's probably a card I may still try.
And now that you mention it, this card probably actually is really, really fucking good with Man Thing, because people are going to try and fill that lane, to get rid of the thing, and then they're going to fill it with little shits, and then Man Thing's just going to take over, baby.
I love it. Love it.
Anyways, I think it's a cool card. And then Valentina, they changed as well. Go ahead. Sorry.
I'm just saying, I like it too. I think this card is going to be pretty good. I think it's like a pretty good junk card. I mean, you could bounce it, play it again. You can Grandmaster it and have 2 of these things going.
Yeah.
But like actual Grandmaster deck, because I think you would be doing like Ravonna Goblins as well with a deck like this. So, you have this thing, Goblins, maybe Man Thing. I think this card's very interesting the way it is. I mean, if you just play it and they don't fill the lane, it's a 2/6 like in value, which is crazy and takes up a board spot. And then if they clog the lane, well, hello, we're playing a junk deck. We're probably playing Galactus, honestly, Joe. That's your boy. And I think this is a clear Galactus card. No doubt, and it'll probably be really good in that deck. And I mean, if you Selene her, you could ship her over with Annihilus. There's some interesting applications with this card. I'm very excited for this card. I think it's going to be like pretty interesting card.
Yep.
Me too. I love it.
Yeah.
And the last one for April that they changed, the new card, Valentina. She's now a 2/2 on reveal. Add a random 6-cost card to your hand and give it -2 cost and -3 power. So they nerfed it a little bit.
Yeah, I think it was -2 power before, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So they must have thought it was too powerful.
Mhm.
I don't know. I think it's still a low key card.
Yeah, I would agree. That's that. Yeah, 2/2 stat line. Yeah, I would agree. It probably is a good low key card. Yep.
It's like it's going to be between this Mirage and Cable. And if you whiff on the 6-drop, it's just you low key it away.
Yeah.
If you hit on the 6-drop, you're happy. If you get like a 4/9 Magneto,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, I would
pretty
agree.
good.
Cool Loki card. Interesting effect. And I don't know what else you would really play her in. I mean, Quinn Jet into Valentina, if a shield deck ever does happen, she'll be a part of it. But that really hasn't ever happened since I've been playing Marvel Snap.
Well, there's a thing. Maybe there you go. They can.
It's going to be a Loki card, and
Maybe they can do that as an event.
Sorry, go ahead,
No
Joe.
big deal. Maybe they can make a shield event. Play with all shield characters.
There you go. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's true.
Why not?
Nice. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
get Nick Fury going. Get the
Your
whole
signature
squad.
Nick Fury that no
That's
one ever
great.
sees. Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, I love it. Well, yeah. All right. I mean, there's all the April cards. I mean, we're almost at 2 hours here. Joe, hey man, thank you so much for coming on. It's always a pleasure. Love talking to you. Love interacting with you. Love everything on Twitter. Love your podcast, Snap Decisions. Everyone better listen to that. I mean, it's unbelievable. Man, thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming. What do you got to say to the people, Joe?
Man,
what do you got to say?
just like I always say, go out there, have fun with Marvel Snap. It's a fun game. That's why we all do this stuff, because we enjoy playing. So go ahead, have some fun. As long as you're not playing Thanos against me, I don't care what you do. But no, thanks guys for having me. Love being here. I've said it, this is one of my favorite podcasts to listen to and watch. You guys have a great time here, and I love being a part of it. Really appreciate you having me on, man. Thank you so much.
Yeah, Joe, thank you so much, man. That means a lot. Really kind words. I'm almost positive our paths are going to cross again for sure. For sure, we're going to do this again. I already know it. No big deal. Close us out, man. What do we got to say to the people?
Well, first of all, 10 out of 10 prop game from Joe from Snap Decisions. All right, brought the shade.
Oh yeah.
Brought the beautiful
we go.
shade,
All right,
and brought
it
the
is.
Thanos gauntlet. Oh baby,
I love it.
And what a pod. We're in the Thanos meta. As a closeout too, I'm sorry I was wrong about Time Stone. What can you do? But shout out to the kid, absolutely crushing Snap Judge League right now. It's Phoenix. The Phoenix Force is just taking
Killing it,
names,
man.
and you love to see it. The Super Snap Bros are out here crushing. And man, enjoy the game. Cerebral 5. We got Lockdown. We got you can play Thanos, discard. Got some options. The game's still really fun. This OTA was fire, and I'm having a great time playing Marvel Snap.
I love it. Well, with that, peace. See ya.